It's 11:33 p.m. I know this because I glance at my phone as I step off the bus, the screen briefly illuminating my palm before the damp night air claims it again. The last bus is always late, but tonight it's emptier than ever. Even the driver gave me that tight-lipped, sympathetic smile as I got off, as if to apologize for dropping me here, at the edge of these sleeping streets. I wrap my coat tighter around myself, feeling the moisture in the air settle against the fabric. The asphalt is dark and slick, reflecting the yellow halos of the street lamps overhead. Each lamp throws long, stretching shadows across the sidewalk, distorting the neat lines of hedges and driveways into something less familiar. My shoes tap against the wet pavement with each step, steady and measured. I try not to look at the houses. Most are dark, windows shuttered, blinds drawn, but here and there a blue flicker betrays a late-night TV, the muffled pulse of dialogue floating out into the night. I pass the first corner, Elm and Hawthorne, at 11:36 p.m. I check my phone again, mostly out of habit, and notice the battery, 3%. I stuff it back into my pocket, feeling a twinge of unease. I don't need it, I tell myself. I've walked this route 100 times. The air is heavy with the smell of wet grass. Somewhere a dog barks once, then falls silent. My footsteps echo in the empty street, a solitary rhythm. I like this part of the night, usually. It's quiet, and I can almost believe the world is empty except for me. Just me and my own footfalls, marking the blocks. But tonight, the quiet is different. The silence feels stretched, as if something is waiting for me to break it. I turn onto Willow Court at 11:39 p.m. The cul-de-sac is lined with identical houses, each with a driveway slick with rain. My footsteps are sharper here, echoing off the low walls and parked cars. I glance over my shoulder, just habit, and catch a glimpse of my own shadow, elongated and wavering under the nearest lamp. For a moment, I think I see another shadow behind it, trailing just a beat behind. But when I turn fully, there's nothing. Just a row of motionless cars and the soft hiss of the wind through bare branches. I keep walking, and after a few steps I hear it. Another set of footsteps. At first I think it's just the echo, bouncing off the houses. But then I realize the pattern is wrong. They're not quite in sync with mine, just half a heartbeat off. I slow my pace, and so do they. I speed up, and the steps match me, almost perfectly. My stomach tightens. I try to peer into the shadows behind me, but the street is empty. At 11:43 p.m., I reach the entrance to the park that cuts between the neighborhoods. The path is slick and dark, the only light coming from the far end, where another street lamp flickers. I hesitate, then step onto the path, grass squishing under my feet. The footsteps follow. They sound closer now, less muffled. I stop suddenly, pretending to tie my shoe. The other footsteps keep going, just 1, 2, 3 steps past me. Then silence. I straighten up, heart pounding. I tell myself it's just nerves, maybe the sound bouncing off the trees or the houses on the other side of the park. I press my earbuds in tighter, hoping some music will drown out the sound. But my phone is nearly dead, and I'd rather save the last bit of battery for the front door. I keep walking, forcing myself to move at a steady pace. The park is colder than the street, the air heavy with the scent of wet earth. My footsteps are softer here, barely more than a whisper on the path. But the other footsteps, if they're still there, I can't hear them now. I try to listen, but all I pick up is the soft rustle of wind in the trees, the distant hum of a television from somewhere beyond the park's edge. When I reach the far end at 11:47 p.m., the street lamp overhead crackles and flickers, casting stuttering shadows across the path. As I step into its light, I see a silhouette at the edge of the park, just beyond the swing set. It's tall, too tall, and motionless. My breath catches. I force myself to look directly at it, but as soon as my eyes focus, it's gone. Just empty air and the gentle sway of the swings. I move faster now, my shoes slapping wetly against the asphalt as I leave the park behind. I try not to look back, but every time I pass under a street lamp, I glance over my shoulder. The shadows seem to move just at the edge of my vision, stretching and shrinking with each pool of light. At 11:52 p.m., I cross Maple Avenue, almost home. The houses here are older, with big porches and overgrown hedges. My own house is 3 blocks away, the porch light left on for me. I tell myself I'll be inside in 5 minutes. I'll make tea, plug in my phone, and laugh about how jumpy I was. But the footsteps are back. This time, they're in my ears, soft and close, matching every move I make. I yank the earbuds out, but the steps keep going, echoing in the night. I stop, and so do they. I start again, and they follow. It's as if someone is walking right beside me, invisible but undeniable. I fumble my phone out, the screen lighting up the street for a second. I open the Find My app, half expecting to see my location as a single blue dot. But there's another ping, pulsing steadily, marked as home. My phone buzzes once, then goes dark, battery dead. I pocket the useless phone and hurry the last block. My house is ahead, porch lights spilling out onto the steps. But something is wrong. The front door is ajar, just an inch, swaying gently in the breeze. The footsteps in my ears stop abruptly, replaced by silence so complete it presses against my skin. I stand frozen at the end of the walk, staring at the door. In the quiet, I hear the faintest echo. Footsteps, inside, slow and deliberate, moving through the house. My own breath is loud in my ears, my heart thumping a frantic rhythm. The porch light flickers. The door hangs open, inviting and impossibly dark inside. I take a step forward, unable to stop myself. The footsteps inside start again, just ahead of me, just out of sight. The wind picks up, carrying the sound of distant laughter from a neighbor's TV. My own shadow stretches across the steps, reaching for the door. I stop, one foot on the bottom step, and listen. The footsteps echo from inside, slow and certain, as if someone is waiting for me to cross the threshold. The door shudders slightly, caught by the wind, and for a moment, the world holds its breath. I don't move. I just stand there, staring at that open door, the silence pressing in, and the echo of footsteps, my footsteps, waiting inside. I step out from the dim glow of the convenience store, the automatic doors closing behind me with a sigh. The air is heavy with city humidity, a little metallic, a little sweet with the scent of wet asphalt. It's later than usual, almost midnight, after a shift that dragged on long after the clock stopped mattering. My backpack digs into my shoulder as I turn onto the sidewalk, only to find it barricaded by a chain-link fence, the steel cold and unfamiliar under my hand. A sign, battered and peeling, warns in block letters, "Sidewalk closed." I duck under a gap, glancing left and right. I'm not supposed to, but the detours add 20 minutes, and I want to be home. The city shrinks at night. Storefronts become blank faces, windows reflecting only what's behind me. The scaffolding looms overhead, ribs of a skeleton, bolted together in haphazard geometry. Work lights hang at intervals, casting a jaundiced glow that flickers as if on the verge of burning out. Their light pools in uneven patches, leaving stretches of sidewalk in shadow, broken only by the occasional flash of a passing car. Each whoosh echoes off concrete, briefly illuminating the mesh of fences and the orange construction cones spaced along the path. There's a rhythm to the walk, my footsteps, the hissing of distant tires, and a sound that joins in every so often, a metallic clank, deliberate and hollow. It echoes down the corridor of makeshift walkways, repeating every few blocks. I try not to think about it, telling myself it's just a loose panel or a contractor's forgotten tool shifting in the breeze. Still, each time it sounds, my heart taps a little faster. I pass the first orange cone, its surface slick with rain, the reflective bands catching the light and flaring white. It stands guard at the edge of a puddle, as if warning me of some invisible danger. I skirt around it, my boots splashing through shallow water, and glance back. The cone is just a cone. I tell myself that, and keep moving. Further on, the sidewalk narrows, squeezed between a wall of plywood and the chain-link fence. I hear the echoing drip of water, rhythmic, insistent. A leak somewhere above, carving new stains into the concrete. The clank sounds again, closer now, and I stiffen. I tell myself it's nothing. that it's just the city's nighttime song. I turn left, hoping the side street will be clearer, but the detour has its own maze. More fences, more cones. As I round the corner, my breath catches. There it is again. The same orange cone, right where the light flickers the weakest, standing sentinel in the middle of the path. The scuff marks, the dent near its base, even a smear of dried mud on the side, identical to the one I passed before. I pause, pulse thudding in my ears. Maybe there's a dozen cones, all battered in the same pattern. Maybe I'm just tired. I keep walking. The clank recedes, replaced by the soft whine of distant brakes and the muted throb of music from a passing car. I glance over my shoulder, but the street behind is empty. I cut through another alley, trying to outpace the anxiety gnawing at my gut. The alley is lined with dumpsters, their lids warped, graffiti spelling out warnings and declarations of love. My shadow stretches ahead of me, elongated by the CCTV camera perched on a lamppost, its silent red eye blinking in the dark. I turn right, back onto the main path. There it is again, the orange cone. Closer this time, almost in the center of the pool of light. I stop, staring at it. The city is sprawling, chaotic, and yet this cone keeps finding me. My skin prickles. I force a laugh, trying to shake off the feeling that I'm being watched. I step around it, but as I do, I notice something odd. A tiny grill near the base, a faint green LED winking behind it. I crouch down, curiosity warring with unease. There's a faint hum, almost imperceptible, coming from inside the cone. I frown, standing up quickly. Another block, another turn, and the cone is waiting for me. This time, I don't hesitate. I approach it, heart pounding, and give it a sharp kick. The cone topples, rolling onto its side. Beneath it, nestled in the hollow, is a baby monitor camera. Its lens catching the light, the LED now blinking faster. I stare, realization dawning cold and electric down my spine. A burst of static crackles from the tiny speaker, followed by a voice. Distorted, mechanical, but unmistakably speaking my name. My real name, not the one on my badge, not the one I use at work. The sound is wrong. It stretches and bends, syllables drawn out and twisted, then silence. My breath comes fast, my hands shaking. I scan the street, the windows above, the shadowed doorways, the dark mouth of the alley. The city feels smaller now, the fences closing in. I want to run, but my legs are rooted in place. A car passes, its headlights briefly illuminating the street. In the wide wash of light, I see them. 3 more cones, placed in a triangle around me. Each one identical, each one waiting. The city's nighttime machinery hums on, indifferent. The clank sounds again, impossibly close. I stand in the center of the triangle, heart hammering, as the lights flicker and the shadows seem to press in. The cones are silent, but I can feel the attention. Somewhere, someone is watching. I look up at the empty windows, at the silent CCTV camera, at the endless lines of scaffolding. The city has swallowed the night, the fences and cones marking not just construction, but boundaries I never knew existed. And I can't shake the feeling that, for tonight at least, I've crossed a line I was never meant to find. It's 1 a.m., and the world feels hollowed out, emptied of all but the softest edges of sound and movement. The neighborhood, so familiar by day, becomes something else entirely once the streetlights flicker on, and the fog pools low over the lawns. Houses shrink behind drawn curtains, their secrets held tight by the dark. Porch lights blink awake, startled by a passing shadow, only to blink out just as quickly. The only companions are the rhythmic jingle of dog tags, the faint, far-off moan of a train horn, and the hollow knock of wind chimes stirred by a restless breeze. The leash feels heavy in their hand tonight, a strange, grounding weight. The parent, wrapped in a jacket they barely remember grabbing, walks through the fog, each step scattering dew from the curb. The dog, a sturdy mutt with graying whiskers and the patience of years, pads beside them, nose low to the ground, tail flicking. Their pace is slow, unhurried, as if neither is quite ready to return to the silence of the house they now share alone. Around them, the neighborhood sleeps. Cars nestle under tarps in driveways, their windshields beaded with mist. Lawn ornaments stand sentinel, half lost in the haze. At each intersection, the parent glances up, checking the next pool of lamplight, watching the fog swirl in its illumination. Their phone buzzes in a pocket, but they don't check it. Out here, there's a comfort in the solitude, in the soft, repetitive click of claws on pavement. A sudden tug on the leash draws the parent's attention. The dog slows, then stops, hackles rising in a silent ripple from spine to tail. Its body stiffens, eyes locked on the darkness behind them. The jingle of tags goes still. For a moment, everything freezes, the world holding its breath at the edge of a question. "Come on, let's go," the parent urges, voice low, trying for a note of calm that doesn't quite reach all the way inside. They give the leash a gentle pull, but the dog refuses, muscles bunched, gaze unwavering. The parent laughs nervously, the sound swallowed by the fog. "It's just the wind, buddy, or a raccoon, nothing to worry about." But the dog won't move. Its ears flatten, tail stiff as a rod. A shiver passes through its frame. The parent's rationality flickers, a candle too close to an open window. They scan the street, squinting into the shadows between porch lights, but see nothing. Just the usual stillness, the usual emptiness. On their phone, the parent pulls up Google Maps, tracing the route they've walked every night since the divorce. The blue dot creeps backward, retracing their steps in reverse, the digital line snaking through the neighborhood's arteries. It's a route that's become a ritual, a way to pass the hours that stretch impossibly long when the house is quiet and the bed half empty. But tonight, the ritual feels broken, interrupted by the dog's stubborn refusal. The wind shifts, carrying the faintest scent, metallic, raw. The parent wrinkles their nose, searching the dark. A movement catches their eye near a low hedge, something glinting, almost invisible in the gloom. Cautiously, they step closer, leash taut in their hand. The dog whines, pulling back, but the parent crouches, curiosity prickling. In the bushes, nearly hidden by leaves and shadow, is a crude ring fashioned from raw chicken, slick and glistening under the porch light's distant glow. It's tied together with clear fishing line, almost invisible except where it catches the light. The parent stares, confusion sharpening into unease. Who would leave this here? Why? The pieces begin to slide into place. Each night, the dog has lingered longer at certain spots, distracted by scents the parent couldn't detect. Each time, the parent had dismissed it as animal curiosity, a dog being a dog. But the pattern is too deliberate, the placement too precise. Someone has been using the chicken to keep the dog's attention, drawing it away at key points along their nightly route. Someone who knows their habits, who has been following this path, tracking them from the shadows. A chill seeps through the parent's jacket, settling in their bones. Every rational explanation feels suddenly flimsy, unraveling with each new detail. The leash, the fog, the ring of bait. They all point to a presence, silent and unseen, slipping through the neighborhood's sleeping heart. The parent rises slowly, fingers trembling. The dog presses close to their leg, trembling, gaze still fixed behind them. The parent's mind races, memories of odd noises, of a sense of being watched, dismissed in the comfort of routine. Now, in the hush of 1 a.m., those memories sharpen into warning. They turn to go, urging the dog forward. But the dog doesn't move. Instead, it lifts its head, nose twitching, ears straining. Its gaze slides up, following an invisible thread into the darkness above. The parent follows the dog's line of sight, heart pounding. There, perched on the roofline of a nearby house, is a silhouette, motionless, almost blending into the night. Just a shape, barely distinguishable from the chimney, but for one detail. A thin plume of white breath, exhaled into the cold air, briefly visible before dissolving into the fog. The figure doesn't move, doesn't speak. It simply waits, watching. The street is silent but for the wind and the distant train. The world holding its breath as the parent and dog stand frozen. The parent's thoughts tumble. Should they run? Call for help? Confront the figure? But fear is a thick, paralyzing thing, and the dog's refusal to move is contagious. The parent realizes then that the world they thought was safe, their quiet neighborhood, their predictable route, has been rewritten, its boundaries redrawn by someone else's intentions. The ring of chicken is a message, a sign that someone knows their patterns, their loneliness, the vulnerable spaces carved out by heartbreak and routine. Slowly, the parent backs away, pulling the dog with them. Their eyes never leave the roofline, searching for any sign of movement. The fog closes in, muffling sound, erasing details. By the time they reach their front door, their hands are shaking, the keys rattling against the lock. Inside, the house feels changed, smaller, less certain. The dog circles anxiously, finally settling by the door, ears pricked. The parent stands in the hallway, listening for footsteps, for the jingle of tags that isn't their own. The night stretches on, heavy with questions. The only answer the memory of a silhouette exhaling into the fog. And outside, the neighborhood holds its secrets close, the fog swallowing all but the faintest echo of footsteps and a dog's low, warning growl. The boardwalk stretches out before me, skeletal in the off-season hush, its wooden planks slick with the brine of the evening mist. The carnival colors of summer have faded, leaving only shuttered kiosks, their metal grates pulled tight like a row of sleeping mouths, and the gutted silence that follows the last of the tourists home. At 10 o'clock, the only company here are the gulls, perched atop lamp poles, wings folded, eyes glinting under the sodium lamps, as unmoving and pale as statues lost in thought. A fog rolls in from the black water, swallowing the horizon and curling around the legs of benches, the ropes snaking from cleats, and the boarded-up bait shop that once rang with laughter. Each breath tastes of salt and secrets, and the night air hums with the soft interplay of distant waves, the creak of thick ropes strained by the current, and the faint electric sigh from the street lamps overhead. Light pools beneath each one, golden and uncertain, as if the town itself is holding its breath. I walk alone, shoes echoing on the boards, a solitary figure slicing through the fog. As I pass beneath the first lamp, a click echoes, sharp, deliberate. The light flickers, then dies, plunging the patch of boardwalk behind me into shadow. I glance up, expecting a blown bulb, a quick fix for a town electrician, but the sodium lamp hangs dark, its filament cold. I keep walking, each step drawing me deeper into the gloom, and as I cross under the next lamp, it too surrenders its glow, as if my presence is a switch, darkness following at my heels like a loyal shadow. One by one, the lamps extinguish overhead, marking my progress along the empty stretch. The boardwalk behind me is erased, piece by piece, until the only light is the one I am about to enter, and the blackness that chases after. The gulls, above it all, remain motionless, their eyes tracking me with a patience that feels almost sentient. The air is thick, heavy with the sense of being observed, as if the town itself is watching from behind every shuttered window and locked door. Halfway down the boardwalk, my phone vibrates in my pocket, a jolt of the ordinary in this world of creeping strangeness. The screen glows. Unknown, Marina office. The name is unfamiliar, but the time of night makes it all the more unsettling. I answer, voice low and wary. A mechanical distortion, barely human. Scheduled power test underway. Please remain calm. Do not be alarmed by temporary outages. Thank you for your cooperation. The call cuts off before I can reply, leaving only the static hiss of the ocean and the creaking ropes in its wake. My heart beats faster. Power test? At this hour? No warning, no sign taped to the kiosks or slipped under doors. The lamps continue their ritual, each one surrendering to darkness as I pass below. The boardwalk ahead is a narrowing path of light, the world behind erased. I keep moving, drawn by a mix of dread and curiosity, until I realize something has changed. The lamps behind me, those I thought were dead, begin to relight, not all at once, but in a sequence, a deliberate choreography of illumination. Their glow is harsh, confining, I look back, and with each step, the lights spark to life, but only in a pattern. They form a rectangle, closing off the ends of the boardwalk, forming a box of light around me that tightens with every step forward. The air inside the box feels warmer, staler. The fog glows in the sodium glare, closing in like soft walls. I quicken my pace, scanning for an exit, for any sign of purpose behind this performance. The only break in the box is ahead, where a maintenance cabinet stands open, its metal door swinging gently, creaking in the night breeze. Drawn by a force I can't name, I approach the cabinet. The interior is shadowed, the usual tangle of wires and switches barely visible. Affixed to the inside of the door, held in place by a loop of electrical tape, is a Polaroid photograph. The image is still developing, colors bleeding into shape, but the outline is unmistakable. It's me. My face, captured in grainy detail, eyes wide, the boardwalk's fog curling at my feet. I stare, transfixed, as the chemical magic of the photograph brings it into sharper focus. My posture, the tilt of my head, the precise way my hand is buried in my coat pocket, all details from no more than 5 minutes ago. Someone, or something, has been here, watching, waiting for this moment. The realization prickles across my skin. The box of light, the extinguished lamps, the call from nowhere. They weren't random acts, but steps in a carefully laid plan. Behind me, the rectangle of light shrinks, the lamps at its edges bursting out one by one, closing the boundaries, hemming me in. The fog presses closer, the sound of the waves distant now, muffled by the electric hum of the lamps and the pounding of my own heart. I reach for the Polaroid, my fingers trembling, but hesitate, unwilling to break the spell or trigger whatever comes next. As I watch, the last details in the photograph emerge. Behind my image, in the grainy haze, another figure, half shrouded in shadow, stands just out of reach. The shape is familiar. Too familiar. My breath catches as I realize the silhouette overlaps perfectly with the spot where I stand now. The maintenance cabinet door swings wider, groaning on its hinges, and the last lamp inside the box of light flickers, struggling to hold back the darkness. My reflection in the photograph grows sharper, more defined, as if the chemicals in the film are not just developing an image, but revealing a truth. The world narrows to the rectangle of light, the open cabinet, and the slowly clarifying Polaroid. The air is charged, every sound amplified, the hum of the lamps, the pulse of blood in my ears, the distant cry of a gull finally breaking its silence. I am both observer and observed, a ghost haunting my own steps. And then, with a final, reluctant click, the last lamp steadies, flooding the cabinet with golden light. The photograph is complete now, the image unmistakable, the moment captured forever, a silent witness to whatever has come to claim this night. The fog waits, the lamps watch, and the Polaroid, warm from the touch of unseen hands, hangs in the open cabinet, its secret sealed in silver and shadow. The city at night is a different kind of wilderness, pulsing with energy and secrets. Tonight, the night air feels especially close, thick with the aftertaste of rain. Street lights glimmer off the pavement, and somewhere in the distance, a siren wails, a restless cry echoing through the concrete canyons. I cut across the main avenue, searching for a shortcut. There it is, the alley with two ends, a passage I've threaded countless times between 7th and Market. It's the kind of shortcut only locals use, an artery hidden behind graffiti-scrawled walls, dumpsters, and the silent judgment of stray cats. I step in. The world narrows. Neon flickers overhead, a broken sign above some shuttered bar fighting against the dark, its blue and pink glow sputtering out in irregular bursts. Every puddle on the uneven asphalt mirrors the sign's stutter. Blue, then darkness, like a heartbeat out of sync. My footsteps echo, then splash, the sound doubling back at me from slick brick walls. Somewhere behind me, a glass bottle rolls, catching the low gleam, spinning lazily before coming to rest with a hollow clink. I glance around. The alley feels longer than I remember. The walls crowd in, painted with wild, defiant colors, Dragons, faces, looping words half lost to time and rain. Someone's painted over an old missing cat flyer, the edges curling, the ink bleeding, a feline face with wide, needy eyes. I keep moving, quickening my pace just a little. The air tastes metallic, touched with the scent of wet cement and something indefinably sharp. Halfway down, I slow. The brickwork under the neon looks familiar, too familiar, like a repeating refrain in a song. I spot the missing cat flyer again, just a few paces on. Same water-stained edges, same plea for help. I blink. My phone buzzes in my pocket, and I pull it out, glancing at the screen for reassurance. The map shows my blue arrow pulsing in place, drifting and spinning. I tap the compass, but the needle whirls, refusing to settle. I frown and tuck the phone away. Maybe the buildings are blocking the signal, or maybe I'm just more tired than I thought. Footsteps. Mine, echoing. Then another set, softer, keeping pace, just behind. I whirl, but the alley stretches empty in both directions. The bottle behind me is still now. My heartbeat quickens. I listen, a whisper, or maybe just the wind sneaking along the walls. The puddles at my feet tremble as something passes overhead, a subway, or thunder, or something else entirely. I start to walk faster, then jog. The alley seems to flex and shift beneath my feet. The brickwork endlessly repeating, the graffiti looping back on itself. There's the cat flyer again, unmistakable. The same torn corner, the same smudge of blue paint across its nose. I realize I'm not breathing right, shoulders tense, eyes darting to the end of the alley where the light shines. Always just out of reach, always a little farther than before. The neon sign flickers behind me, the stutter now a nervous tick. Whispers coil up from the darkness, curling in both ears at once. Words impossible to make out, too close and too distant all at once. My footsteps grow louder, slapping the wet concrete, as if trying to drown out the voices. The puddles splash cold on my ankles. The alley stretches on and on, every instinct telling me I should have reached the end by now. The light at the far exit is a promise that keeps breaking, receding as I run toward it. The walls squeeze in, every detail repeating. The same mural, the same dumpster, the same torn flyer, like a record caught in a groove. My phone buzzes again, the compass spinning in frantic circles, its face a blur of red and white. The map arrow drifts off the alley entirely, hovering somewhere in a gray void. I try to call up a friend, but the signal flickers, the screen going blank for a second before the home screen returns, untouched. The whispers intensify as I break into a run, my pulse thundering in my ears. The voices swirl in stereo, rising and falling, too many to count. Are they laughing, calling, warning? I can't tell. I just run, lungs burning, shoes slick with rain. Finally, breathless, I burst into the light at the end of the alley, expecting to step out onto Market, to see the familiar curve of the block and the glow of the 24-hour deli. But it's not Market. It's 7th Street, the very place where I entered. The same cracked sidewalk, the same crooked street lamp buzzing above. I stumble out onto the curb, spinning in confusion. Behind me, the alley mouth is gone. There's no narrow passage, no neon-lit shortcut. Just an unbroken brick wall, slick with fresh rain, graffiti glistening in the streetlight. My footsteps falter. For a moment, I wonder if I've taken a wrong turn, but I know these blocks. I know the city's heartbeat like my own. On the wall where the alley should be, a shadow clings, tall and human-shaped. The paint still wet, the outline sharp as a photo negative. My own shadow. I reach out, but the bricks are solid, cold and indifferent. The wall gives nothing back. I step back, heart racing, watching the shape melt into the night, the last evidence that the alley ever existed. The siren in the distance fades. The city resumes its rhythm, the shortcut erased as if it had never been. I look at my phone, my map, my messages, my world, still spinning, still lost. Behind me, the wall is just a wall, and the only sound is the drip of water and the slow, steady beat of my own heart. In this city, shortcuts can lead you back to where you started, But not everything you find along the way will let you go so easily.